This is the Ethereum 1-month overview reading for October 2022. It's currently September 15th, 2022, 7:20 p.m. That's Eastern Time. The overall theme and behavior for Ethereum throughout the month of October is three crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level, confirming a bullish trend. It's crossed with a move higher through resistance, followed by a breakdown back through that same price level shortly thereafter, a full retracement. And it looks like we probably have a couple of places where we see that kind of behavior, that poke through and back down. Behavior around the high, we see sideways rotation along support that ends with a fast sudden move to the upside. Behavior around the low, three pokes through the same price level, followed by a decline after the third poke into the low. It looks like the low provides an opportunity on a day trade, in a day trade sense, to open up a long position. All right. So when I look at the 1 year for Ethereum, this is the October cluster right here. My mouse isn't working, making it hard to draw. Good old retrograde. All right, so this is the October cluster, right? We have a correlation in the early part of October with the disappointment card. So what we'll see is a push higher through resistance, pushing the upper end of a range higher, but that's temporary. It will meet a critical resistance level, and then we'll come back down out of that. Like we'll break out through it and then come back, right? Behavior off of the low, based on this cluster, there's a notable move higher, like an unexpected move to the upside, and then the late behavior out of a decline, there's a move from the bottom of a range all the way to the top of a range, and we're talking about on a 1 year chart on that scale. So, but what's interesting is we have a failed attempt to break through key resistance. We push the upper end of a range higher, and we have a failed attempt to break through key resistance in early October. All right, guys. So on the first, well, another thing. So those three crisscrosses, I see a couple places where we're very likely to cross through those price level, that whatever that price level ends up being. Somewhere around like the 7th through the 9th, we may actually. Yeah, we may actually see like a breakdown. We go through it to the upside, the price level, and then on the 7th, and then we likely come back down through it on the 9th. And then again, looks like we meet it again somewhere around the 22nd. We don't cross it there necessarily, or maybe we don't cross it there necessarily, but then somewhere around like the 28th, it looks like we cross it. So those are the places where we're likely to see that same price level: the 7th, the 9th, the 22nd, and the 28th. And something else to point out: there's a cross time frame congruency here with the peace card, starting right here next to a month's high. It's starting with a correlation to a low, but not a month's low, just a correlation to a low. Yeah, and the cross time frame congruency here, the peace card represents the high. It also has the Ace of Cups energy connected to it. There's trading done all throughout this month. There's good trade opportunities here, but around the the high, which is the peace card, and then we see it here. We see the peace card. So likely we have a high here, like on the first or the second. But we move out of a low, a first low, and it'll end up being like a minor trough, not a major trough. But we move out of a low, and we meet a resistance level. That's a critical resistance level on the first. On the second, we have a month's high. Looks like with a decline, revisiting past problems, something that breaking through a price level that we broke through maybe just in the last week of September, likely. And that's after meeting a month's high. It looks like there's a swing trade opportunity on the first as well, involving a decline on a one-day chart that'll offer an opportunity to open up a long position. Swing trade opportunities, or actually it looks like a day trade opportunity on the third in the midst of some sideways fluidity along a support level. We'll have equal amounts of bulls and bears, inflow, outflow, that sort of stuff. And the two trade opportunities, one involves a price level that marks a good midpoint for a straddle or strangle in the midst of some volatility. And then the other trade opportunity involves a fake out, an intentional fake out or shakeout or triggering of an indicator falsely, intended to make retail investors impulsive and do the wrong thing. On the fourth, Congress may be highlighted, either that or there's a leader of some kind highlighted here, possibly a holding pattern as a result. On the fifth, we have another high. I'm advised to be cautious here on the fifth. There's a month's high there, and it looks like on the fifth and sixth, likely we bump up against. So it's probably a higher high on the fifth than we have on the second. And then on the 6th, we bump up against that same price level again as we bump along resistance. On the 7th, we complete the bullish, there's a completion of a bullish trend. And it looks like probably that's after we break through somewhere around the 5th or the 6th, we break through that price level that we have here on the 7th. So somewhere around the 5th, 6th, 7th is where we'll break through the price level to the upside. And then we turn around the 7th and decline. There's a notable decline between the 7th and the 9th. Notable decline in a swing trade opportunity involving some volatility and an opportunity to position oneself in both directions using a straddle or strangle in options. On the 9th, we have a cash out opportunity. It looks like near a low, so like maybe the 9th or the 10th. 9th or the 10th, yeah. So it looks like there's probably a little bit of a pop to the upside somewhere between the 8th and the 9th, like right around the cusp between those 2 days. And then we fall further on the 9th. We fall through that price level, it looks like. And there's a swing trade opportunity there involving multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance on a one-day chart. On the 10th, we have another month's low or trough here, major trough, in the midst of some sideways fluctuations with a bearish trend preceding a rally. Looks like there's a cessation of a trend at the end of the day. So whatever the trend is going into the end of the day on the 10th, there's a cessation of that trend there. And then on the 11th, coming out of that trough, that month's trough, we have a big move to the upside from overbought territory or to fill a previous gap down. On the 12th, or late on the 11th or early on the 12th, I'm advised to open up some protection. On the 12th, we have a decline too, and through a support level, we bounce along another support level, and then we break down through multiple support levels. There's a swing trade opportunity there in the midst of a decline. Wow, a lot of swing trade opportunities. Swing trade opportunity in the midst of a decline on the 12th to open up a long position, and then on the 13th to adjust that position so that I'm playing both sides of the market, and I now have a long and a short position. And then there's another trade opportunity on the 13th as well. So one in the midst of the volatility to position to be on both directions, and then the other one's another fake out. We have sideways rotation along a key support level on a 1-month chart. on the 13th, and we move higher, meet the closest resistance, and then break back down through that same price level, or excuse me, come back down to that same support level and rotate sideways along it some more. On the 14th, we break down through multiple support levels. That's on a multi-day chart or a 1 month chart. There's a swing trade opportunity there involving multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance on a 1 day chart. There's a lot of movement there. It looks like a lot of movement on the 14th. Let me just reiterate back on the 8th and the 9th. Between the 8th and the 9th, there's an unexpected gain. So there's a big decline between the 7th and the 9th into the 10th even. But there's an unexpected gain in the midst of that somewhere between the 8th and the 9th. I just want to make sure people got that. All right, so on the 15th, we have a big move higher to reach for distant resistance level. Oh wow. Okay, so we have a rally that starts on the 15th. We reach another like minor crest for the month. So it's not like an all-time it's not like a major high or something, but it'll stand out as a crest in the midst of a big move to the upside to reach for distant resistance. And then on the 16th, we go out of a bit of a decline. We move from the bottom of a range all the way to the top of a range. There's a swing trade opportunity there on the 16th as well, involving a decline on a 1 day chart that offers an opportunity to open up a long position. On the 17th, we have quite a bit of movement here. We have 2 local highs and 2 local lows on the 17th. So what I mean by that is that if you looked at a 1 day chart of the 17th, you'd see 2 prominent highs and 2 prominent lows that stand out. Now, one of those highs, we meet a resistance level, we break down from that with consecutively lower spikes down up on the way down. And then the other high, we break down to and through a support level from it, then reverse below that support level, come back and reuse that support. The 2 local lows, one of those involves a U-shaped dip, the other one involves a breakout out of the low. And again, the 17th is a rally that increases with momentum moving forward into the close. On the 18th, we may have a little bit of a retracement backwards. There's a sideways S kind of decline going on between a resistance and a support, not necessarily horizontal, but we'll go from that resistance all the way to the support, from the support all the way back to the resistance, and then from the resistance all the way back to the support. It could be diagonal trend line support resistance. It's possible. But then on the 19th, we have another month's high here on the 19th, a very strong indication of a month's high here. We have a rally, a notable rally. It'll stand out on a 1 month chart, and it offers an opportunity to open up a short position. There are 3 local lows on the 19th. So 3 prominent lows that'll stand out. We also have a move higher through a resistance, followed by a breakdown back through that same price level shortly thereafter. Looks like we have that same kind of behavior at one point on the 18th as well. A move higher through resistance and then a breakdown through that same full retracement back down through that same price level shortly thereafter. All right, on the 20th, we have the completion of a rally along a diagonal trend line marked by a fast sudden move higher and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. There's a swing trade opportunity on the 20th involving a decline on a 1 day chart that offers an opportunity to open up a long position. We sell from a overbought or near overbought crest when looking, I should say, sell from an overbought crest or peak here down. My sense is that the crest is on the 20th, but we do some profit taking down from there through the 21st. There's a swing trade opportunity involving some volatility on the 21st and an opportunity for a good midpoint between a long and a short leg of a straddle or strangle to play both sides of the market. On the 22nd, a male ruler is highlighted. I'm advised to heed the spoken word there. This important spoken word, and that's near a low on the 22nd or the 23rd for the month. There's another low or prominent trough there. Swing trade opportunity in the midst of a decline on a 1 day chart for the 23rd, and that offers an opportunity to open up a long position. And then we have an important price level that's highlighted. Again, on the 22nd, we revisit that price level there between the 22nd and the 23rd. And it looks like we break through that price level again to the upside. On the 24th, we have a decline and a notable trough. Excuse me. So we have, my sense is that this area right here is kind of prolonged, so pushed a little bit, because we have all this stuff telling me that there's a low. There's a low somewhere, a month's low somewhere between the, not a month's low, but a prominent trough, I should say, somewhere between the 22nd and the 26th. If it's not on the 23rd, then it's most likely going to be on like the 25th or the 26th. But that would mean that we have to push kind of like the cards a little bit. There is a crest that forms after a big move higher. So out of a low, it looks like there's a breakout and a big move to the upside out of a month's low, somewhere around the 24th, 25th, 26th. Let's say 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. And then we move higher and we meet another like month's high somewhere. We break through that price level. So we break through the price level either on the 22nd, or we fail to break through the price level on the 22nd, but we touch it, and then we break through it again on the 28th. It looks like in the midst of a rally that's basically come out of that month's low and picked up steam. It'll stand out significantly on a one month chart. On the 27th, roughly, there's going to be a bit of a decline there on the 27th in the midst of the rally, and there's a fake out in there. Opportunity to position for both directions as well in the midst of some volatility there on the 27th. But the thing about the Prince of Wands, or excuse me, the Prince of Swords, is that I've seen it be very bullish too. So it could be like some kind of like volatile bullish behavior. I think there's probably a bit of a decline in there towards the end of the day on the 27th, and that offers an opportunity to open up a long position. On the 28th, we have a rally along a diagonal trend line, breaking through horizontal resistance, meeting secondary resistance, which doesn't need to be horizontal. And then we dip back somewhere between those two price levels. And in the midst of that horizontal resistance, my sense is that we likely, that horizontal resistance is that price level again, that we break through to the upside on the 28th. On the 29th, a merger of some kind or an agreement between two leaders affects the market. There may be a holding pattern of some sort. And there's a swing trade opportunity involving multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. On the 30th, we have we successfully turn resistance into new support, and that's on a 1 month chart. On the 31st, we move higher through resistance. We break down through that same price level shortly thereafter. There's sideways fluctuations with a bullish trend preceding a decline on the 31st as well. And then it looks like we attempt to establish a new support level, a higher support level. It looks like in early November for ETH. That's Ethereum for October 2022, my friends. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And most importantly, my friends, that rule of karma, make sure you follow that rule of karma. 5% of the profits go forward. Somebody who did not expecting, help that person out, make their day, keep the flow going through the universe. All right, 5% profits back to us. Show gratitude for what we've been doing, all this free work, hard work, my friends. Lifestyle choices involved. And then make sure you spend all that money out of love. As long as it's out of love, the universe will send it back to you tenfold in all directions, my friends. I'll see you later.